For people who want to know what is the KeithAndrewNetwork, the whole point of my talk show is to show you that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something. And at the same time, I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities to never give up and prove people wrong. Prove to them that labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be, so prove them and still amount to something.
Hi, I'm Goldie Vegas, and I just had a great chat with Keith Andrew on his YouTube show. You guys check it out. It was really great.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the KeithAndrewNetwork. It is episode 933. That's right, 933. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that bell icon. You'll be notified when brand new interviews are up and ready. So like, subscribe, comment, hit that bell icon. If you're watching on Facebook, same deal. Hit that like, comment, share. You won't be disappointed in supporting the KeithAndrewNetwork. Today we have Goldie Vegas on the KeithAndrewNetwork, and it's a real honor and privilege having you as a guest. I'll say welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
No, the honor's all mine. And as people saw in the introduction, that being said, half hour every time, you don't have to have a disability to support or be on the KeithAndrewNetwork. If you have a great story and you're in the entertainment world, I would love to have you as a guest. So that being said, the first question is called Icebreakers. What can you tell our audience a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Well, I am a residential realtor here in Las Vegas. I'm also a rockabilly singer, piano player, and saxophonist. And I am a Marilyn Monroe tribute artist.
No, that's really interesting. Who inspired you to do all this?
Well, I grew up playing music. I was probably 7 years old when I started playing the piano, and I've played the piano my whole life. I grew up in Northeast Arkansas, just outside of Memphis, Tennessee, which is where rockabilly music was invented. And so rockabilly music has been a big influence for me throughout my lifetime. So I just thought that I would put together a rockabilly band, and I play over at Tommy Rockers, which is located near the Rio Casino off of Flamingo and the I-15.
Oh, absolutely. So the first question I want to ask you, easy ones first, then we can go to the hard-hitting ones. What did you major in? And when you were in college, were you a study nerd or party animal?
I have always been a party animal. I have a bachelor's degree from Missouri State University in communications with a minor in anthropology. And I also have an associate's degree from Le Cordon Bleu, where I majored in culinary arts.
No, wonderful. And what were some of your favorite sports?
Well, I was the captain of the tennis team when I was in high school, and tennis is still one of my favorite sports. I'm also a huge fan of women's bodybuilding. It is something that I enjoy keeping up with. I enjoy watching, and I enjoy doing a little bit of it as a novice, just as an amateur.
No, absolutely. Now, I want to ask you some questions about your acting. The first one is, who inspired you to become a professional actress?
Well, I would say I was in some productions as a young child. I would say in the fourth grade, I was in a school talent show, and I did a Cyndi Lauper lip sync act. And then I ended up at a Young Actors Conservatory in Memphis, Tennessee when I was 13. In high school, I had a great theater teacher and did a lot of competitions. And in college, I was a theater major for a few semesters. So it was just kind of the culmination of a lot of different experiences.
Oh, wonderful. And this one you would find very interesting. What is the biggest change you wanted to make in your acting career?
Well, the biggest change that I would like to make in my acting career is just to fine-tune my skills and take it to the next level.
All right. So the next one I want to ask you It's, I used to have a script. Now I have an index card, trying to make it easier. But some seasons I just like, okay, let's just wing it. Sometimes I'm like, okay, let's use the card. Unfortunately, if it's just one of the seasons, I'm using the card. But the question I want to ask is, what are you most likely to become famous for?
Oh my goodness. Well, I don't know what I'm most likely to be famous for. I think a lot of people are very excited by my Marilyn Monroe tribute act. It's everywhere I go, people say I look like Marilyn Monroe, and people are very excited. I went to a lunch meeting today for a charity, and they asked me if I would come back as Marilyn Monroe. I think that, if I had the opportunity to perform in a show on the Las Vegas Strip or Legends in Concert, something like that, I think that that's probably what I would be most famous for. Although I feel like my rockabilly career is really taking off, and I think a lot of people will know me for that as well.
While we're actually on the subject, what is your claim to fame?
Well, my claim to fame thus far is I have been a very prominent figure in the Star Trek Las Vegas cosplay community since 2009. I had a very popular costume when I was a Trill at the 2009 Star Trek convention in Las Vegas, and that's kind of stuck with me. I've done a lot of different costumes with body paint, but it all comes back to this one costume that so the Trill are an alien species in Star Trek, and they have spots that go all the way down. And so the running joke is always, oh, do your spots go all the way down? So I decided that I would just wear a bikini so nobody would ask me that. So I showed up in a red bikini with a Star Trek patch and spots all the way down. And that has stuck with me for 12 or 13 years.
Hey, next time you're on the show, you should wear the outfit.
Yeah, I'll think about it.
So the next one, I'm going to shake it up. So I'm going to ask you two questions at one. The first one is, what is some of your career highlights, and what were some of your best acting advice you ever received?
Well, one of my career highlights is that I was actually a participant in a Star Trek fan film called Excalibur, where I was an Orion cadet. And I was the only alien species in the film other than Vulcan. And so that was pretty exciting for me. I actually had a really great show recently as Marilyn Monroe at Jimmy's at Madison's here in Las Vegas. And several of my fellow performers said they were sitting in the dressing room listening to me sing, and they thought that it was a track. They actually thought it was Marilyn Monroe. So that was pretty exciting that they think that I have a voice very similar to the person I'm portraying.
Well, the one thing I will say is stay away from the Kennedys.
Yes.
I know, bad joke, but try to have fun with everyone. But I have a dark sense of humor too. I'll give you an example. Are you a fan of Family Guy?
Sure.
There's actually a comedian. I don't know, on the KeithAndrewNetWork, we like to keep it light, but we like to have fun too. One of the jokes that I heard, not from Family Guy, some comedian, and says, why can't homeless kids play baseball?
Why?
They don't know where home is.
Oh. Good one.
The other one was, what's the benefit about dating a homeless girl?
What?
You can drop her off anywhere.
Oh my goodness! But
I mean, it's stupid jokes like that. I just think are funny. And
more jokes.
Oh, go ahead.
I said that's more jokes than I know.
Yeah, it depends. There's other jokes too, but I can't really think off the top of my head. But the point is that you have to laugh at stupid things because you can't take things so personally. But actually, that brings up my next question: is how comfortable are you talking in front of a group of people and teaching a bunch of people?
I'm actually very comfortable with that. Like I said before, my bachelor's degree is in communications, which is basically public speaking. And I've done it a lot. Every September for the past 6 years, I have emceed an awards ceremony that I also organize to honor first responders. And that happens at Las Vegas City Hall in front of about 250 people, which include the police departments, fire departments, military, attorney general, mayor, Congress people. And so it's a situation I'm usually very comfortable in. I've also volunteered a lot at the women's homeless shelter, teaching life skills classes. So I just think about, what could I teach someone that, they could take and use in their own lives?
Absolutely. And now go back to your Star Trek history. Are you still experience, sorry, your Star Trek experience, are you still a part of it? Or is it like when they need you?
No, I mean, I will always be a Trekkie. One of my goals, yes. One of my goals for this year is to get a gig in the lounge with my rockabilly band playing during the Star Trek convention. And I'll definitely do some cosplay, but that's something that I'm working towards right now. That's one of my goals for this year.
And going back to what you said a while ago, you work with the Star Trek, but have you ever been on the actual episode? So if someone would look you up, what episode were you a part of?
I was not on an episode of any Star Trek. I was in a Star Trek fan film that was produced here in Las Vegas.
Oh, nice. Hey, a foot in the door, it's all that matters, right?
Yeah.
So the next one I want to ask you about the band that you keep mentioning. Who inspired you to create your own band? How long have you been around, and what are some of your favorite hit singles?
So I decided to start my band, which is called Goldie Vegas. I decided to start my band because it's just music is my passion, and like I said before, rockabilly music has been a big part of my life. And there is a rockabilly community. We actually have the world's largest rockabilly festival here in Las Vegas, and rockabilly is something worldwide that is, from the part of the country that I'm from. And so I just wanted to be part of preserving that musical heritage.
Now, let me ask you this one. It's actually one of the questions I should ask you in the beginning, but I have a list of 15 questions, not in order. I don't have OCD. Okay, I have a little OCD, but for me, I'm like, okay, question 1, 2, 3, but I don't usually put things in order sometimes. But the question I want to ask you, without rambling, is what attracted you to begin your career as an actress?
I think it was just a form of self-expression. It was just an outlet for me. It really all kind of started with music, honestly. And I grew up in the 80s, so Madonna was a big influence for me. And she was not just a singer, she was an actress. I'm also a fan of Barbra Streisand, and she's the same way. So those types of inspirations, those types of women inspired me to follow my own passions.
Now, the other question I want to ask you is, you are a great admirer of Marilyn Monroe. What about her inspires you so much?
Well, she was a brilliant actress. She could play serious roles. She could play comedy roles. She was just a really great comedian. She was in the movie Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, which is one of my all-time favorite movies. I love the musical numbers. I love how she, hits the beats in her choreography. She was gorgeous. She set a trend for style that has lasted for decades. She's the most iconic Hollywood actress we've ever known. Everyone knows who Marilyn Monroe is. I've had kids maybe like 9 years old see me in stores and say, "Oh, she looks like Marilyn Monroe." And how does a 9-year-old know who Marilyn Monroe is? But it's pretty interesting that someone who's 9 years old to 90 years old knows who she is. She's iconic.
That is true. Yeah, there's certain people that just jump out at you. For an example, when you talk about professional wrestling or sports entertainment, you mention names. Well, you just mentioned wrestling in general. You have Hulk Hogan, Bret the Hitman Hart, Ric Flair. Great wrestler, human being. Never met him, but I heard stories. But the point is, you heard certain names that you just mentioned. You mentioned like hit dramas, NYPD Blue, Suits, Blue Bloods. So there's certain subjects that will always be mentioned that will jump out at you. So like you mentioned music, greatest rock and roll bands of all time, Russ, Queen, Led Zeppelin, Iron Maiden, even the new music. Not all new music's gonna be wonderful, but it's really interesting how all the movies that come out today, Guardians of the Galaxy is a perfect example how they take music from the 70s and 80s and 60s for that matter, and they make them relevant. Isn't it funny how it fits as well?
Yeah, it's timeless. You mentioned Led Zeppelin. That's my favorite band of all time. That's timeless.
What's your favorite song by Led Zeppelin?
Kashmir. I love Kashmir.
For me, the first band you ever listened to, do you remember what it was?
I was real big into Michael Jackson, Culture Club, George Michael when I was real little.
For me, the first band I ever listened to was on my way to my grandparents' house. And my brother surprised me. He put headphones on my ears and told me, "Tell me when it's done." And the band I listened to, that got me inspired into music, was Rush. And
Nice.
I heard like Natural Science, Force 10, Red Alert. Hands down, if it wasn't for Rush, eventually I would have gotten into music. But at the time, that was my number one go-to band.
Nice.
But the other question I want to ask is, with everything that you accomplish in your life, what are some of your greatest accomplishments?
Well, my greatest accomplishments really include a lot of the charity work that I do. I mentioned before the award ceremony that I do at City Hall every year. That has a very special place in my heart. We honor police, fire, and military personnel throughout all of Southern Nevada. So we honor 18 different departments, and it's just a really great event to be able to tell first responders face to face, thank you for your service.
Absolutely. It's not an easy job. And you think signing up to be a police officer or being a fireman is a hero, you have a rude awakening. Because I take my hat off to all the firefighters, all the police officers. It's not a job to say, "Oh, I only became a cop to be a hero." No one enjoys being shot at, number one. And number two, you deal with a lot of scum of the earth. Everyone that gave their lives on September 11th, for the firefighters, EMTs, those people are heroes. Heroes are someone or group of people that run towards danger, putting your lives first, and making sure, you know what, all that matters is you come out alive. If I come out, great. If I don't come out, at least people will remember me for making a difference. And you know what? It's you run into a burning building, you don't hesitate. Your goal is to get in, get the person, and get out. And you don't second guess. You can't second guess yourself, because if once you second guess yourself, that time wasted could have been spent on helping someone. And
Exactly.
So, no, go ahead. I apologize.
No, I was agreeing with you.
And I don't mean to hesitate when I say something, when I don't do my interviews as of late, my disability shows, hint of the show. But like I said, it's not an easy job. But the question I want to ask you now, with everything that you accomplish in your life, what is coming up on the horizon for you?
Well, during COVID-19, I was laid off from my job at a casino and I got my real estate license. And so I've been working on building my real estate career the past couple of years, and it's really starting to take off. So that's really exciting for me. And I look forward to growing my business, Goldsmith Realty Group. I can help with real estate anywhere in the world. And I do specialize in Las Vegas.
Oh, wonderful. Now, I'm going to throw two hard-hitting questions at you. So not to sound repetitive, if I sound like, oh, he's got to bring up the same question. But you mentioned you do so many great things. Do you think at the same time you set yourself up for failure? And have you set yourself up for failure?
There are times when I bite off more than I can chew, but I have people in my life who give me support. And if I need help, I know I can reach out to those people and they'll help me.
And the other part of it is, how did you overcome that failure? And did it make you into a better person?
Absolutely. I'm really the type of person, I try to do everything myself and I don't really like to ask for help. But once I recognize that I'm going to need some help and I reach out to my friends and they step up to the plate, I'm always relieved and thankful. I'm always a little disappointed I couldn't do everything myself, but I'm always so grateful for my friends who step up and help me with, the task at hand.
Great. Now, the next question I want to ask you is social media. Can social media make you or break you with everything that you accomplish in your life? Have you ever received any opportunities from Facebook, Twitter, Instagram?
Absolutely. I receive a lot of opportunities through social media. I think the key is to think about it as a marketing tool. Obviously you get to keep up with family and friends over social media, but you are marketing yourself. You're marketing yourself to the community and to the world. And I get real estate clients from that. I get people who come to my shows. It's always exciting for me to meet new rockabilly fans. It's exciting to meet new Marilyn Monroe fans. And the more I post on social media, the more my name gets out to the public, and the more people know who I am. And when they come to Vegas, hopefully they'll seek me out.
I agree. Social media can help you in so many ways. My top 5 websites that I would recommend to anyone: YouTube, make videos, get yourself out to the public; Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Those are the top 5. Of course, there's other times where you look for other options, but it's always good to say, these are my top 5. They help me so much. But I do have a couple questions for you off the air. But one question I want to ask you is, do you have any projects that you're working on right now? And how can people get in touch with you?
So the projects that I'm focusing on right now are I have an upcoming gig at Tommy Rocker's April 15th from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. That's a Friday night during the Rockabilly Convention. So if anybody wants to get away from the Orleans Casino, they can come over to Tommy Rocker's and hear some Rockabilly standards by Elvis Presley, Little Richard, Brenda Lee, Wanda Jackson, Janice Martin. So I'm really focusing on that and fine-tuning my 2-hour performance for that. So that's my most immediate project that's coming up.
Absolutely. And how can people get in touch with you? Are you on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter?
I am Goldie Vegas on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. So those are my top 3 social media.
Now, the last hard-hitting question, I want you to be brutally honest. When I first approached you to be a guest on my talk show, what made you say yes? How do you feel now? And what do you recommend it to other people?
Well, we have a mutual friend, and I love supporting her, and she supports me a lot. And she said, "Oh, I have a friend who has a talk show," and I wasn't really sure what this was, but I was like, "For you, anything." And so I'm so glad that I did this, and it has been really nice chatting with you today.
No, absolutely. Now I do have a couple questions for you off the air. For our fans and listeners, if you're watching on YouTube, hit that bell icon, hit that notification. You will be notified when brand new interviews of the Keith Andrew Network, Talk Show, and fan-made parodies will be up and available. If you're watching on Facebook, like, subscribe, leave a comment. This video will be shared on YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, and all social medias. While wrapping up our interview, it was a real honor and privilege having you as a guest. I want to say thank you very much. And until we meet again, catch you later. Thank you and have a good night.